even if I liked the cinematic and disagreed with their take, I think it's important to bring up the PCGamer article. And we've been seeing a few of these things floating around the place.
Yep.
And the reason I bring this up is because people know of Warcraft, right? Almost everyone knows of Warcraft.
Yeah.
So in the broad culture of gaming, and we've all experienced this, where you'll see a Polygon article on World of Warcraft that's by somebody who doesn't really get World of Warcraft, and you can see how to an average consumer of I'm not saying Polygon as a direct reference, generic gaming website, but as maybe a subject matter expert in that game, you're like, well, that comes off as a bit of an uninformed take. But that doesn't actually matter, because the general public sees the publication, and that informs their vibe, because they'll maybe glance past the headline, and then they'll be talking with their friends in Discord as they're playing another game, like, oh, you remember we used to play WoW back in the day in college. I saw an article, apparently the story's going to shit now. That really sucks, man. I could have went back to that game, but I mean, if the story's not going good, why would I? And that's going to be the conversations that loads of people will be having in their Discords and stuff. Now, the whole point here is, even if that's unfair, it does not matter that that's unfair if that's what's happening. Because we have to engage with reality and deal with it. We can't just sit around the place moping about how reality is wrong and some people are slightly off the mark in their takes. Because the thing that matters to, in this case, Blizzard's bottom line is the general public sentiment. And with all of the money that they pour into advertising for World of Warcraft, we have to deal with actual things, because the World of Warcraft is GaaS, games as a service. There are aspects of the SaaS, software as a service, model that apply here. And one of the most important things of any SaaS model when financial forecasting is being done is cost of acquisition. Now, cost of acquisition is going to be lower when you have a addressable audience and an incredible product market fit. And, you've got a good funnel, good sort of web design, all that stuff that makes it, you can find your target customer really easily. They're going to really like your product. It's not going to cost, that as much money per acquired user in Google AdWords and stuff like that to acquire that user. It's a core part of the SaaS model. It's a core part of the GaaS model as well. Now, whenever things like this happen, right, World of Warcraft's latest cinematic is a narrative disaster and players hate it. I mean, even if Steven was not perfectly on the mark here, and even if he was only representing the 10% of players that he saw, the issue for Blizzard is these headlines getting out there, because that will cause the people not in the WoW bubble, because we're all in the WoW bubble. Like it or not, we are in a bubble. The people outside of our bubble will just, fly by, see this headline, and then that means whenever Blizzard's next expansion comes around and they are pumping up their ad budgets through, AdWords, YouTube, traditional media, their cost of acquisition for users is going to be higher, because they've kind of damaged their product market fit, because the market is getting these sentiments about the product, and they're going to go, well, this product doesn't fit me anymore. So Blizzard's going to have to spend more and more money to acquire users.
Yeah, I mean, literally look at this. This is the PCGamer homepage. Ad block segment aside, you scroll down, you see literally that headline is just there. Sure, people maybe have a filter for looking at that going, oh, well, that's, it's, people are angry about a game, whatever, or, some sort of negativity, they're getting clicks, so they'll maybe upregulate that a little bit or something. But it is just, please know, World of Warcraft's latest cinematic is a narrative disaster and players hate it. If you're at any capacity on the fence about World of Warcraft, maybe you haven't seen Asmongold or any other channel talking madly about FF instead, or railing on it. You haven't seen that stuff on Twitter because you're not on Twitter in that circle. You hit up PCGamer because you want to see what the crack is with, is there a new Witcher game? Witcher Season 2. Oh, sweet. What's else going on? Oh, Genshin Impact's got a massive update and World of Warcraft's a disaster. Which game am I going to play?
Yeah, and somebody could land to that exact position that you discussed when they saw, the tiny little square ad that's purge the wicked, embrace the darkness, and, it's got the CG, of the Covenant leaders. Maybe they've seen that, like, oh, wow, that's, I like vampires, that guy looks pretty cool, cleanse the wicked, purge the wicked, whatever, sweet, I want to do that, nice. And then they see this. Well, suddenly, the money that Blizzard spent to show that advertisement to that person has been thrown in the bin. So this is something where, talking about this is not shitting in WoW. This is dealing with the overall friggin' situation that's at hand here. And we need to deal with the overall situation because, like, it is worth being worried about. And I am very worried about World of Warcraft right now because the sentiment is not great. I think it is not great for generally pretty deserved reasons. And that worries me because it's like, are they basically going to close ranks and double down on what has produced things like this? And I believe a similar article might even have been from Stephen Mesner at the 8.3 ending. Actually, no, he did do an 8.3 ending article as well. As people who care about the game and really want to see it go in a good direction and get that content that the players really want and the stories the players will enjoy, seeing this is so fucking sad. It's so sad. This is the opposite of what we would want to see as WoW players, right?
It's weird.
I mean, there's some FF players who are seeing this thinking,
yeah,
but not me whatsoever.
See, I'm going to disagree from a particular perspective, right? Because I think that the reason they get away with doing things that players don't want is because it's worked okay so far. Because it's been shored up by other things. Be that, player loyalty, be that some gameplay stuff being really well. It's the kind of thing where we have watched this disaster unfold in real time, ostensibly, because we saw it happen in BFA and it kind of just kept spiraling the direction they took with story. But now, this is a front page article on PCGamer. If anyone who, maybe, someone who's higher up at Activision Blizzard, or even someone who's like just generally high up at Blizzard but doesn't follow doesn't follow people on Twitter, isn't super engaged with the actual product, because maybe they follow a load of business people on Twitter because they're business people, something like that. If they open PC Gamer and see that, they'll be like, let's for a second imagine this is someone who's like on like the board at Activision Blizzard, because this isn't really how it would go, but just as a sort of thought experiment, you're sitting and you're like, I'll check PC Gamer because I have I own things that are PC gaming land, so I'll check the news every day to make sure everything's looking well. World of Warcraft narrative, does that say disaster? That says disaster. Shit.
It says the players hate it.
Players hate it. Players, okay, and they get out the phone.
Doctors hate this.
They open Gmail or whatever else. They're like, to J. Allen Brack, Jay, just letting you know, I just saw this. Could you provide an explanation at the next meeting of why this has happened?
Well, that's going to be fun for people who will be having meetings with Jay and meetings with Ian, etc.
Yeah, so that's why I'm hopeful.
Ian is going to have some meeting where things like this happening are brought up, and I do know a fair bit that they kind of do discount criticism as trolling over there. I mean, you can actually base some of people's public utterances, let's just say, on certain snippets of text sharing websites. Yep. You sort of can tell that goes on, and it's like, look, this is bigger than all of us, right? This is running a big virtual world. We need to think about the integrity of that. We need to think about what's right for it. And if what's being done is producing things like this, then that is bad. And I should also say, I saw some people basically insinuating that this is just PC Gamer, seeing a dislike bar on YouTube and just trying to get an article out of it for money. I will say, Stephen Mesner has been diligently covering World of Warcraft for PC Gamer for ages. Yeah. I think he's... is it Sarah's the other one? But that's the, they for a long time, Stephen's been doing articles about World of Warcraft. So he is a WoW player. He was, I guess, one of us. It's just that instead of blogging at or writing at, say, a Blizzard Watch or YouTubing and YouTube or Twitch streaming, his thing is writing articles for news outlets, right? And in this case, he's one of us, and this is the article he's written there, I suppose.
I mean, also, if you read the article, I haven't read it completely fully from A to Z. I'm not going to say I like anything about the quality of it. I'd say I think I largely agree with the general gist of it, but This is either a very well constructed article by someone who cares about World of Warcraft, or someone who cares enough about World of Warcraft to slam their keyboard in pure fury at the events. And either way, I think you can tell that this is not someone who's doing it just for, just for the hit click. Because you could get a hit click with 10% of the length of this article.
You really could.
You could basically stop it like here, and your job's done.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna write this.
I think a lot of this article can only really be written by somebody who gets WoW. And like there's a version of this. I mean, you can disagree with his take on the story, whatever, but it's undoubtedly this is an article by a WoW person. It's interesting, and it is since BFA that all this stuff has happened. I remember the times before BFA; they were so much more peaceful. We did not have a genocide waifu. There's some people saying, the Alliance have done bad things too. Yeah, absolutely. And the Alliance actually being brought to justice for those things, I think, is important. It has to happen. It'll be very interesting to see how it happens. But I think there is something to be said about the scale. That's basically that. And, the core part of this is, as it applies to Blizzard's business model, is like, look, this is all just going to hurt them in the long run. And we don't want them to be hurt. Yes. I don't want the business of World of Warcraft to go south, because I actually, turns out, quite love World of Warcraft, and I want World of Warcraft to be a very profitable, very successful game with excellent working conditions for the employees, a big team, all the support they could possibly need, great wages, great bonuses, and for the players to have a big, great game to experience. That's what I want. And stuff like this happening gets in the way of that. And I think what I want to see is also what's good for Blizzard, what's best for them. So it's like, shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, you would think so. I relish headlines like that, because I personally feel the only way that they'll actually be able to enact the change is when, they're this close to the water in their dive. They will need to be so close to the edge that they need to come back. I think that's the only time they will be able to come back. So I'm almost happy watching all of this, because I don't want it to fail, but I want them to get the wake up call they need.
Yeah, you're just kind of thinking like, oh, this is like the ammunition for the people in the Blizzard office who are making the argument that this is not the right track to be on.
Yeah, this is where they take the pitchforks, the whoever it be it the people who love the game the most in the offices, who disagree with all this stuff, the ones who haven't drank from the Kool-Aid enough.
Yeah.
Or, even if it is investors looking and saying, you're running our game into the ground, go into the office with the imaginary pitchforks and be like, right, stop doing what you're doing that players don't like, because and this is one thing that I think is very, very important. And I almost want to address this directly to the team in a way, but it is not a binary whether you're making something for yourself or making something for others or for players or for your target audience. There is a line that you have to ride in the middle of the two.
Yeah.
That I think people kind of throw stuff like, well, you can't just do it all for the players, then there's no personal story, or you can't just do it for yourself because then the players aren't involved. There is somewhere in the middle where you're making something that you take whatever is in your experience, in your heart, in your soul, and you turn that into something that is presentable and enjoyable by people. And then you go, hello, here's what my creativity has given birth to. Here's what it has become with all the production we have, like all the production capabilities we have turned this like raw piece of creativity of my soul, or our soul if you're a team. And here it is in crystallized, consumable form. It's like you don't take raw ingredients and fire them out. You prepare them or you cook them and then you deliver them to people. And that's kind of that's what I think is going a little bit wrong here. And it's why I keep saying they're drinking the Kool-Aid. There's something in the water there, or they're high on their own supply. I think they're so isolated that they think they know better than players. And not just that, they think that players should either, players don't know what they want, or even just that the players aren't deserving of what they're going to give them, And they're like, this is so perfect, we're delivering it, you know. We've got a pulley system on the ivory tower, lowering Sylvanas down to people, but like, here is the next bit of incredible story, I hope you're waiting. And everyone's like, this is raw meat, I'm so hungry, please.
Yeah.
Give me something cooked. And I think that's the thing I think they need to learn. And that's why I think Stephen was very, very smart to go narrative disaster and players hate it. And then he opened the article with, here's examples from around different places where players are furious at this.
Yeah.
And it's a case where, no, the players are, you know, I mean, we'll get onto this again with some of the FF14 slides later, because this is a core part. But I kind of want to bring it up now when we're talking about this, because the players are the people you're serving. Not completely serving.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a give and take relationship. Creative goes, it's cool, you want it? Players are like, shit, that looks cool, I'll have it. Can we have some more, please? That's the relationship. That's it. Like,
yeah.